Hello, everyone. My name is John Paul, John K. Paul on the typical internet haunts of Twitter, LinkedIn, and the other social media gambits. I'm the CTO here at InRhythm, and I want to talk to you today about a great event that I was just asked to lead 2 sessions at called ConnectJS. ConnectJS is the Atlanta Regional JavaScript Conference. Had some amazing speakers from all around the country, and some actually internationally. It's organized by two amazing organizers, Pratik Patel and Vincent Myers of Atlanta. They put together an amazing lineup of speakers that really covered the full gamut of where software engineering within JavaScript ends up. There was an amazing track on React, an amazing suite of talks about modern JavaScript development. And a few about transitioning from companies to open source, as well as transitioning companies from PHP and Ruby over to Node, Angular, more mean stack sort of development. I'll start off talking to you about the first talk, the keynote, was amazing. It was by Code Rabbi, also a Twitter handle if you'd like to look that up. Code Rabbi talked about how exactly we can, as engineers, support each other in this community. Because development is a lot more than just reading books and reading blog posts, but also making sure that we as engineers are always available to support each other, are always available to mentor. And one key takeaway from his particular talk that's especially applicable to the junior engineers that are currently coming up in the field is that make sure that you're always out there looking for a mentor. It's no one will fault you for specifically asking, "Hey, John Paul, can you and I work together closely? Can we, have coffee every month or so? Can we figure out exactly how I can get to where you are right now?" That kind of situation, as Code Rabbi describes, and I completely agree with, is extremely helpful to be able to really quickly move someone up the ranks of understanding how they go about software development, as well as how they treat other software engineers, and how they handle a lot of the soft skills around software engineering teams, because it's a lot more than just knowing JavaScript or knowing the Node API or knowing the features of ECMAScript 6 that makes a solid software engineer in this industry right now. Additionally, there was an amazing talk by Toby Ho called How to Learn. He is the author of a book and screencast series called Debug School. He and I share huge amounts of uh, love for meditation practice, as well as calm and zen-like manner toward the frustration that can always be there when we are debugging very complicated code. His talk goes through exactly how you can use techniques to slow down and always know that you are able to solve a problem. Outside of his particular talk, I always like thinking about a little bit of my own zen of programming. And I try to communicate this to upcoming engineers at InRhythm as well, that where whatever it is, whatever problem you're having, whatever extremely frustrating issue that you cannot find, you can find it. There is always a line of code somewhere. The computer is dumb and you are intelligent. There is a line that you wrote or someone else wrote that is causing this problem. And if we can slow down, move away from the frustration, have that sort of sacred pause, you can very easily go back to this problem and approach it more rationally and put aside the emotion, because you know for a fact that you can solve it. It might take you one day, it might take you 1 minute, but you can solve it. And I really liked being able to talk to Toby about these kinds of emotional interactions with software development. Now, again, on my sort of highlight list within ConnectJS, there was an amazing talk by Amjad Masad out of Facebook. He was formerly of Codecademy, built REPLit, an amazing online REPL tool that can interpret many different languages, Python, Ruby, JavaScript, to name a few. He gave a talk about fault tolerance in JavaScript and how many of the applications we build that are typically not at Facebook scale don't really consider as holistically as we should what happens with errors. He had a hilarious slide that I actually tweeted about around What do we do when we see errors? Sometimes they're just try catch, and catch is completely empty. LOL. Some sort of hilariously faced emoji. But that's something that is, especially as we, so in Rhythm as an agile shop, is really focused on making sure that we can always iteratively get better. And how fault tolerance and how error handling and logging impacts that is that in JavaScript, we typically are unable to, or it's typically the culture to not deal with these things at all. But being able to log these errors and then aggregate these errors and then be able to run metrics and statistics around what new errors are happening allow us to have that feedback loop directly back into the engineering cycle to be able to fix those errors, find those root causes. It might be code, it might not be code, it might be dependencies. There are lots of different options around what to do when an error happens. But the last thing that we should be doing, but the most common thing that we are doing, is catch, return false, something like that. He also had a great discussion about, and a great example of state machines. State machines are something that I understand and typically use with respect to showing regular expressions as an example, but there are really mature state machine libraries in JavaScript, like Machina.js, which was very popular in Backbone days. And I took away from that talk a sort of expectation that I will reinvest a little bit in figuring out how how to use state machines in my own code, because they do provide for a much clearer mechanism to show what could be described as tons of conditionals or some very complicated method. And I really enjoyed hearing about and seeing the implementation of that in Amjad's talk. Then another great talk was, so Christine Abernathy, also out of Facebook. There were some great Facebook talks at this event, Connect.js. She talked a lot about how Facebook invests in open source software and how, from a workflow perspective, as well as understanding within their organization, how open source gets done. And a key takeaway for me there was that they actually implemented at Facebook, I mean, of course, very large company, they implemented a very similar to typical software engineering workflows around open source as well. So it's not just people who happen to have the time available, but rather people that are focused on producing deliverables with dates just as you would for an actual software product. And that allows them to very easily mesh up their timelines and mesh up their quality expectations around building open source software that actually gets significant utilization in the community. Come on, think about it. React is gigantic nowadays, as well as something that can work for them internally because they have internal product commitments that use all of these different open source projects. So overall, this was an amazing event. I came away. So the particular two sessions that I led, one was about ECMAScript 6. It was an overview of the language, and I had some great questions about very interesting nitty-gritty details that typically people don't really explore. But ECMAScript 6 is not just syntactical convenience, although many pieces of it are syntactical convenience. It is also, it paves the cow paths, is what I said. It makes things that we do every single time we program in JavaScript, make them much easier. We're already doing them, and it paves those cow paths to make those particular pieces easier. Additionally, on my second talk, I led a session around React and why React is functional. And functional was in air quotes, so I really enjoyed being able to tease apart different pieces of the React offering and the React community, and be able to show, without concerning ourselves with the extremely rigorous book definition of functional programming, how can we apply what React gives us in more than just the virtual DOM to make our application development process much easier. What is its paradigm shift? Because it's not just, the virtual DOM is not the thing that makes React special. Something else makes React special, and I will save that for when the video comes out, and I will definitely be tweeting about that to all of you. It is I would love to hear after this particular video comes out from any one of you about any bike shedding we could potentially do on Twitter, so please feel free to reach out. So all in all, the The Connect.js conference was a great experience. The attendees were amazing. As a conference speaker and as an educator, I really enjoy both the process of sharing my knowledge as well as gaining from all of the attendees at a conference. And the Connect.js audience was just one of those really engaged audiences where the hallway track was just as engaging and interesting as any particular session like the ones I've just talked about. So Connect.js was great. Thank you to Pratik and Vincent. I'm very excited to see your future endeavors and your future events. There are many, many more people that I will be excited to keep in touch with from this conference, and many things that I have learned and will be applying here at In Rhythm for my team. Have a good day. I will see you on the next video blog.